Stewart with the news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Investigators say they've put a stop to China's latest attempts to steal Taiwanese tech talent. That's following a raid on alleged Chinese shell companies suspected of poaching domestic engineers and stealing trade secrets. Reese Ayres is live for us in Taipei with more on this story. Reese, what do we know about these raids?
Well, the investigation found that there were 8 Chinese organizations illegally setting up shell companies in Taiwan using fake capital, including several backed by Chinese state enterprises and the Chinese Communist Party's finance ministry. Now, these shell organizations are suspected of introducing Chinese capital into Taiwan, they're stealing trade secrets, and they're also poaching Taiwanese talent. Now, the investigation reports that more than 100 Taiwanese tech engineers were lured away by these shell companies. Taiwan produces most of the world's most powerful computer chips, and that's an industry that China is desperate to catch up in by any means necessary.
台积电的 CoWAS 或者是 Info 这一类的技术，目前其实大陆还没有半个封装厂或晶圆代工厂所能够做得出来的。我们的电子产业链的工程师跟人才，尤其是半导体产业链，其实可以用熟又大碗来形容。
Now, it's that cost effectiveness that could be one reason that China has been able to lure away so many of those engineers and technicians, as Taiwanese employers just don't offer competitive salaries.
And how has China been able to set up all these shell companies in Taiwan? Aren't they illegal?
Well, shell companies themselves aren't actually illegal, although they are often used for money laundering or tax evasion, and they're very useful for obscuring the identities of the real benefactors behind those organizations, in this instance, those 8 Chinese companies. What is illegal, however, is misrepresenting what your company does, as is the case with the ones involved in this investigation. And Taiwan also has very strict procedures for companies looking to set up shop in Taiwan if they have links to China, and bypassing those procedures is very illegal. And it seems that some of these shell companies were set up via third parties to muddy paper trails, allowing China backdoor access to Taiwan and to some of its most valuable trade secrets.
Thanks, Reese. That was Reese Ayres, live for us in Taipei. A former official who once worked for the governor of New York has been charged with being an agent for the Chinese government, including allegedly blocking Taiwanese officials from meeting US state counterparts. Prosecutors say Linda Sun worked as a CCP agent in exchange for millions of dollars and lavish gifts from Beijing reps like gourmet duck. Sun allegedly removed references to Taiwan and the persecution of Uyghurs in state communications. She also faces other charges, including visa fraud and money laundering. She has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The US Department of Justice has subpoenaed chipmaker Nvidia as part of its antitrust probe into the company. They're investigating claims Nvidia is making it difficult for customers to switch suppliers and penalizing buyers who don't exclusively use their AI chips. It prompted Nvidia's stocks to fall 2% in after-hours trading. The tech company's shares had already plunged to nearly 10% as markets reacted to analysts' warnings over new risks in AI investments. The DOJ also sent subpoenas to other firms. Taiwan Stock Exchange has plunged by 4.5% after a sell-off in the tech sector. The TAIEX had dropped by as much as 5% in early trading and finished at just over 21,000 points by close of trade on Wednesday. Investor sentiment was hit by poor manufacturing data from the US, signaling a slowdown in the world's largest economy. Taiwanese stocks had been riding high on the back of a boom in AI, with companies like TSMC among the key suppliers for US tech giants. But Nvidia, the world's leader in AI, saw its shares dip almost 10%, helping fuel the sell-off in Taiwan. Lawyers are appealing the detention of Taipei's former deputy mayor, Jen Shang, on corruption charges. It's part of the same corruption case that has engulfed former Taipei mayor Ko Wen-je. John Ventriest has the latest.
Police surround Taipei's former deputy mayor Peng Zhongsheng, held as a suspect in a corruption scandal that's shaken Taiwan's political world. Peng's lawyers are hoping to end his detention, and they're using the same defense that secured the release of former mayor Ko Wen-je, the alleged co-conspirator whose political stature has raised this local affair into a national one. They say that, like Ko, Peng knew nothing about a deal to give the owners of a shopping mall city permission to vastly expand their floor area and their profits. Peng had chaired the city's planning commission, but his lawyers say his expertise isn't in matters like changing building blueprints.
其实从我们过去从彭副市长的经历可以知道说，他主要应该是工程相关的专业啦。那我想这个和都市计划应该是有相当的差距这样子。
But even if this argument convinces the court, it doesn't mean Peng will stay free. His former boss, Ko Wen-je, was released without bail, but Ko now faces a second arrest after prosecutors appealed that decision. Ko is the leader of Taiwan's third largest party, the Taiwan People's Party, which he founded and represented as presidential candidate in January. With the backing of his party, he's attacked the investigation, and his main political rival, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which he says is behind it.
你们大概现在动用全部国家力量，在很认真的研究柯文哲。我也不希望嘛，有一天台湾有罪的定义重新改变。什么叫有罪呢？民进党说你有罪，你就有罪。
As the legal back and forth over arrests and detentions continues, the question at the core of the case, who knew what, remains unanswered, meaning this scandal won't be resolved anytime soon. Kama Xu and John Ventriest for TaiwanPlus.
The scandal over floor space in a Taipei shopping mall has set off controversies in other parts of the country. In the southern city of Kaohsiung, groups are concerned plans to expand one hotel's floor space by over 1,100% could leave the building vulnerable to earthquakes.
多少有名的建商信誓旦旦说工法非常好，但是后来在建造的过程当中，仍然因为土壤的关系，或者是因为地震的关系，坍塌啦、塌陷啊，造成零损。
But the city says it's calculated the percentage the Ambassador Hotel could expand based on laws for buildings of its category. And the city's mayor is promising stringent safety checks.
必须经过都市设计审议委员会交通的冲击评估以及环境影响评估等所以就这个个案我们会严加审查。
A Russian missile strike on Ukraine has killed more than 50 people and injured over 270. In a video message, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the death toll had risen and that rescue operations were still ongoing. The strike hit a military academy and hospital in Poltava city, damaging many residential homes nearby. It's one of Moscow's deadliest strikes in the 2.5-year war. A former Philippine mayor accused of being a Chinese spy has been arrested in Indonesia. Footage released by Indonesia's Bureau of Immigration shows Alice Guo being taken into custody on Tuesday night. Guo is being investigated in the Philippines in connection to an illegal Chinese online gambling operation, which was discovered to be a front for a scam center. The investigation led to questions about her background, with some lawmakers accusing her of being a Chinese national, an accusation Guo denies. Guo fled the Philippines in July after the country's Senate found her in contempt for failing to appear at a hearing. Vietnam is one of several countries racing to achieve an industrial revolution driven by tech. The pressure is on for firms to spend big on new technologies like AI to stay competitive, but many companies still have a long way to go. Taiwanese Exec Kenneth Chen leads an alliance of business owners, academics and other tech advocates to help Vietnam's factories go digital. Our reporter Joyce Tseng caught up with him in Ho Chi Minh City.
Nowadays we hear about Industry 4.0, smart factories, but with your experience, where do you think we are at in this transformation?
Only big companies have the resource to play with a very expensive big toy. But most of the majority, they cannot catch up. They don't even have the foundation to do it. In Asia, like Taiwan or Vietnam, they used to rely on people to exchange information. That won't be fast enough to solve the problem. We need a digitization tool, a computer, to connect all the data together. If you don't have a good tool and management, then usually it will take many days. If you're still on that stage, then it's impossible for you to use AI. When we talk about Industry 4.0, digital transformation, all these smart factory, smart manufacturing, no single company can solve all the problems. So we need to put all the resources together to collaborate.
And how different has it been implementing your concept in Vietnam versus in Taiwan?
It's very interesting because Taiwan, a lot of people, they have their successful experience. So for experienced people, for experienced operation, it's more difficult to make change. And in Vietnam, luckily, they don't have such a burden. And because of the new opportunities in here, many Taiwan's business, their factories in Vietnam is even much bigger than the one in Taiwan. Reality is, the business have to survive in business, have some profit, so they can reinvest. AI, just like other technology, are just the tools for them to see, okay, is it a good time for me to adapt this solution to solve my problem, to improve my productivity, improve my profit? So just use the same mindset, then you will be okay.
That was Kenneth Chen, the founder of A1 Smart Factory Alliance. Be sure to check out our series on Vietnam's digital transformation on our website. African leaders have arrived in Beijing for a 3-day forum on China-Africa cooperation. It's the largest diplomatic event Chinese officials have hosted in recent years. Representatives from all but one of Africa's 54 countries are at the forum. Only Eswatini did not attend. It has diplomatic relations with Taiwan. China has spent decades building relations with Africa, lending over $182 billion to the continent since 2000. Taiwan's schoolchildren are the most overweight in Asia. That's according to recent figures published by Taiwan's health ministry as they try to bring more public attention to the issue of childhood obesity. Rees reports.
Schoolchildren across Taiwan are facing a crisis of health and nutrition as the country's youth claim the undesirable title of the most overweight in Asia. It's a problem with serious medical consequences.
有些10几岁，他们体重过重了，就产生高血糖、糖尿病的都有呢。我碰过小孩子就开始在吃那个糖尿病的药了。
Despite a slight drop in rates compared to last year, figures from Taiwan's Health Promotion Administration show that a quarter of primary school students are overweight, a proportion that increases to 30% for students in junior high. It's a multifaceted issue, as medical professionals try to dispel the myth that children naturally grow out of their baby fat, while also driving home the importance of regular exercise.
建议学童每天累积60分钟的中度身体活动哦，那每周希望累积能够达到420分钟。那借由这个规律的运动的维持，能够来促进儿童的一个健康。
Health experts are also pointing to the fact that school lunches are often nutritionally imbalanced and are encouraging parents to try to do more food prep at home. But with an abundance of fast food restaurants and convenience stores selling cheap processed meals and after-school snacks, temptation is on every street corner, making it difficult for children to make healthy choices. Ryan Wu and Rees in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally today we take you to this cow festival in Switzerland where farmers are bringing their herds down from their alpine farms. I'm Laurel Stewart. Take care. See you next time.